you provide states like Michigan enabling legislation to allow us to have all Internet retailers collect tax.
Thank you, Mr. Marshall. Mr.
Thank
Byrne.
you.
Thank you. Thank you. Good morning, Chairman Smith, Ranking Member Conyers, and members of the committee. My name is Patrick Byrne. I'm the Chairman and CEO of Overstock.com. Thanks for this opportunity to share my views on the question of state authority to collect sales tax in e-commerce. My basic view is that brick and mortar has become 87%. Big box has become 80% of brick and mortar. And what is going on here is they're trying to pull up the drawbridge after them. They're trying to get a law passed that will suppress competition from small remote sellers and just Internet sellers in general. For that reason, Overstock supports the current law as supported in the Supreme Court's Quill decision because it facilitated the advent of vibrant, innovative e-retailers like Overstock, Newegg, eBay, and Amazon. We oppose the bills now pending in Congress that would empower states to conscript remote retailers to become sales tax collectors and believe that had such remote sales obligations existed when we launched in 1999, we would not be here today. In 1999, we had 18 employees, carried 100 products, and had $1.8 million in revenue. If we'd been required to administer and collect sales tax on behalf of remote state governments without meaningful simplification, indemnity, and compensation, our chances of becoming an employer of 1,500 American workers that we are today would have been small. Too high a hurdle would have been established by the cost of compliance in 9,746 taxing jurisdictions, the unavailability of affordable off-the-shelf software solutions, the cost of employing people to implement and manage the software, the administration and resolution of state audits and resulting assessments, and the risk of penalties and lawsuits by plaintiff bar attorneys for software errors and omissions. The question the committee must consider is whether this innovation will continue if Congress alters current law by allowing states to burden interstate commerce. In my opinion, the pending bills allow states to shirk their responsibilities to collect taxes that they impose on consumers. Instead, enforce that burden onto non-resident, non-voting businesses. Passage of such legislation would poison the Internet's fertile ground for new e-commerce firms. More specifically, we oppose the pending bills because we believe that taxing jurisdictions should be responsible for collecting taxes from residents and should not unilaterally outsource to retailers without compensation the burden of collecting taxes from residents of states where those retailers have no presence. The absence of any nexus threshold in the pending bills makes remote sales tax collection a burden on innovation, entry, and commerce. However, if a majority in Congress is determined to replace current law, Overstock believes that a fair legislative solution must include three essential elements. First, because tax collection is really a function of states and not retailers, the states should be required to provide a truly plug-and-play software solution. Supporters of the pending bill claim such solutions are readily available in the marketplace, but the fact is they're not. For example, we've been considering opening a warehouse in Kentucky. In preparation, we acquired what was described as an affordable plug-and-play software package that would ensure we were in compliance with the tax collection obligations for sales to Kentucky residents. The reality is that the so-called off-the-shelf software required $300,000 of investment and months of man-hours of our developers to build. Implementation for the nation's nearly 10,000 different taxing jurisdictions would be extraordinarily costly for companies like mine, not to mention companies with fewer resources. So if states want us to collect tax on our sales to their residents when we have no presence there, they should supply software that makes it possible to do so. And I believe such software today is vaporware. By the way, they tell you this exists, it's vaporware. Second, retailers should be liable to not be liable to state or plaintiff law suits if errors arise from use of such software, like missing a tax holiday or a new tax rate, or the fact that one state taxes the sale of a product one way while another exempts it from taxation. And third, taxing authorities should compensate all retailers asked to implement state software and to collect sales tax on their behalf. It is expensive to implement software and expensive to collect and remit the tax to the jurisdiction. Just as I cannot force other parties to work for free, states should not be permitted to compel companies to do their work without reimbursement and without some degree of revenue sharing. I have attached to my written testimony a draft bill incorporating these principles. I believe it will garner support from the majority of e-commerce companies, as well as many brick-and-mortar and brick-and-click retailers, particularly smaller and mid-sized Main Street retailers who would otherwise be hurt by the pending bills. Thank you for the opportunity to share my views, and I look forward to answering your questions.
Thank you, Mr. Byrne. Mr. Otto.